Welcome back to So You're Interested In, the show where I break down an artist's discography in order to give you, the viewer, the best possible jumping off point in order to get into their catalog. On this episode, let's take some time to look at the post-punk outfit A Place to Bury Strangers. Founded in New York City, this band has been blowing out listeners' ears since the early 2000s. Playing a deafening combination of noise rock, post-punk, post-hardcore, and shoegaze, A Place to Bury Strangers music is not for the faint of heart. Their entire catalog features overwhelming reverb and fuzz, playing heavily into the wall of sound style. Being a band for over 20 years means that they've released a plethora of music, ranging from LPs, EPs, singles, and a hell of a lot of remixes, so don't you fret, there is no shortage on their music. The only downside to having such a large and extensive discography is knowing the right place to start, so allow me to help you out by recommending 2 albums and 3 individual tracks that you're gonna have to listen to in order to get into A Place to Bury Strangers. Up first, we're gonna cover some albums. The first album from A Place to Bury Strangers that you should be checking out is their 2007 self-titled LP. If you've been looking for a super noisy, pop-adjacent project, then it appears that you've hit the jackpot. Sure, the wall of sound might be a lot for some people, but once you dig past that fuzzy exterior, you're greeted to grooving riffs and captivating vocals. Take the opening track, Missing You, for example, with its chaotic instrumental yet tame vocal passages. If you were to take away the raw drums and bleeding guitars, you'd be left with an easily enjoyable tune that would click for most people. On the other hand, we have the electrifying cut to fix the gash in your head. It should be absolutely no secret how heavily rooted in industrial this track is, as the entire soundscape screams mechanized. It's intense and in your face, with rapid percussion fills that could spin your head clean off your shoulders. One last song I'd like to touch on before we move on to the next record is I Know I'll See You. Standing out for its borderline synth-punky vibes and that wet bass, A Place to Bury Strangers expand their sound palette in a wonderful direction. I'd even argue that this is one of their most pop-focused outings, mainly thanks to the repetitive loops and inoffensive lyrics. This self-titled effort is accessible and tons of fun, so why don't you go ahead and give it the old college try. Next up, you're going to have to check out their 2009 release, Exploding Head. This is my personal favorite record from A Place to Bury Strangers, mainly thanks to the raw, dark atmosphere that envelops it. From the first track to the last, you were surrounded by noisy, dissonant sounds that might remind you of artists like 9 Inch Nails, the Jesus and Mary Chain, or The Cure. The opening track, It Is Nothing, displays these qualities perfectly with its up-tempo pace, catchy lyrics, and sweeping guitars. There's an overall industrial edge to It Is Nothing, giving off strong metallic and machine-like vibes. More or less, this is the soundscape that A Place to Bury Strangers thrives within and utilizes the most within their discography. Another standout is Deadbeat, with its overpowered, blasting percussion and groovy, infectious bass line. This cut always gets me going, as it urges the listener to dance in whatever downtrodden manner they find fit. This abandoned warehouse party continues, as Deadbeat is immediately followed up by the eclectic song Keep Slipping Away. I once heard somebody describe this record as New Order if they were angry and wanted to write music to get people to punch each other. I feel like that description eerily matches this track, as the brighter guitars feel keen to listenability, while the drums are hell-bent on getting you into a fight. So once you finish listening to this cut, I beg the question, which way, Western man? Keep Slipping Away is an undeniable banger, much like the final track I want to talk about, Everything Always Goes Wrong. Near militant in its execution, this driving post-punk track tries to sound uninterested within the vocals, but it's absolutely in your face with the instrumental. It's almost like you gave the shoegaze and industrial genres a bunch of speed and made them listen to the Stone Roses over and over again. But even in its darker tones, there is accessibility within each passing note. That stands true for all of Exploding Head as well, so don't hesitate to dive right into this contagious release. That's gonna wrap up the albums, but there's still some tracks to talk about. The first track that you're gonna have to spin is What We Don't See from their 2015 LP, Transfixiation. This is a whirling song bursting with energy and passion from all angles. The mixing is rough in order to blend the sharp guitars, deep bass, and pounding percussion. The heavily reverbed vocals cloak this track and act as an additional instrument. Honestly, the vocals are very reminiscent of the Jesus and Mary Chain Psycho Candy, just with the way that everything's put together. What We Don't See might be a slight adjustment for some people, but you'll quickly find yourself falling in love with the never-ending noise. Another track that you're gonna have to give a listen to is Look Me in the Eye from their 2018 record, pinned. This short, drum-heavy piece will have you raving in a dark, deep basement. These screeching synths leave you disoriented, while the vocals bring you familiarity and comfort. It's like there's a war between the humans and machines within this track, a unique battle between contrasting foes. But their fight is not in vain, as their differences help this song sound singular and one of a kind. Look Me in the Eye might not be the most riveting track in their discography, but it is one that I do think you'll find yourself enjoying. One last cut to check out is Anyone But You, from their 2022 LP, See Through You. This is a rousing post-punk track that pummels its way through its entire runtime. The guitars are extra crunchy, helping to add contrast to the poppier approach in the vocals. The riffs are groovy as hell too, teetering this track on the verge of dance punk. There are few songs in their catalog that are more danceable than this one, as I always find myself getting up and flailing around whenever it comes on. In terms of accessibility, it doesn't get any more inviting than Anyone But You. Be sure to give this one a proper spin. And before I close this video out, I would like to highlight a couple of the fantastic remixes that have been done of A Place to Bury Strangers songs throughout the years. This includes the Grimace remix of I Need You, the Slowdive remix of Frustrated Operator, the Wah Together Acid remix of Hold On Tight, and the Sonic Boom remix of Love Reaches Out, yes, all 11 minutes of it. And that is going to close out my video covering A Place to Bury Strangers. Links to all the albums and tracks discussed here are located in the video description box below. Scroll down even further to the comment section where you can let me know if you liked any of the albums or tracks that I picked here. If you're a big fan of A Place to Bury Strangers and you think that I completely fucked up this video, that's totally fine. Go to the comments and let me know. You can also suggest any artists you'd like to see covered on this show. Go ahead, leave a comment. Just know I do have a bit of a backlog built up, so if I don't get to it right away, it's nothing personal. You guys have been giving me some great recommendations recently, and I'm working on them, so I'm sure we're going to see them in the near future. Please subscribe to this channel for more content just like this every single week, along with other shows like Stacks of Wax, The Variety Show, Where It's At. I've got a lot of videos coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned and you'll see what it's all about. And that's going to do it. That's all that I got, outside of my usual reminder for you to go out and support your local record store if you are able to, along with the local artists in your area. And, well, until I see you next time, happy listening.